This leader is provided to facilitate adjustment of focus. Please be aware there are spoilers contained in this video presentation.
You ain't nothing but a reservoir dog, crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a reservoir dog, crying all the time. You ain't never caught an undercover agent in your operation, and you ain't no friend of mine.
Reservoir Dogs was released in 1992. It got no nominations for either Golden Globes or the Oscars.
That is kind of surprising, but one of the things I was telling Kai was that you can see all the pieces coming into shape. The discussion at the diner is a lot better than I think the rest of the movie, although the rest of the movie has a lot more depth. But you want to talk about classic Tarantino, that scene at the diner is just, it's very foul and it's very quick. I don't think I had seen that since I ill-advisedly brought it home to that Kai and I on a date were going to watch it. And I got about 5 minutes into it and went, you know what? I remember now. We are not going to watch this one. We'll watch whatever else it was that I rented.
Something that I noticed when I watched it was during Mr. Pink's escape, he's running down the street and he pushes somebody off to the side. Wilhelm screams.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
That takes some stones.
Yeah, Quentin. Well, and it's such a serious movie otherwise, and then to have that thrown in there is it's just great.
So I ended up doing a bunch of research because they dropped the N-bomb a bunch in this. Quentin's justification for that is that he wanted his characters to be really true. He believes that when he writes a character, that he's writing how people would really talk. And I guess he must be in a real racist part of town. I remember being really kind of taken aback back then. And then I think that in some ways today it's even worse.
When he was starting out, he did it. And then he seemed to get better with Pulp Fiction. But I mean, now when you watch his movies, it's like, can he do anything else like other than like follow people around and kind of do that like awkwardness where they're just like sitting around like going out to go get their car keys or something? Just
three glasses.
We ordered 3 glasses. We ordered 3 glasses. That's the German 3.
It's a pretty good movie. It has its moments, but it's another movie with bank or robbers without actually showing any robbery.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least with that, you knew there were a bunch of bad dudes.
You shoot me in a dream, you better wake up and apologize.
Like Bonnie and Clyde, it was like
some vanilla ice cream driving around in a car, as opposed to guys that would straight up murder you for stealing your phone book.
Give me that book. Are you gonna put it away? I'm gonna do whatever the I want with it.
I thought Harvey Keitel, his performance in this, I thought was far and away better than anybody.
They were going to Robert Rodriguez it and make it for $30,000, and Harvey Keitel got a copy of the script and came on as a producer. $1.5 million at that point. He just came, and all of a sudden they got funding.
And it also reminded me of kind of a college one act where, like, it really does all take place in that one room.
They have very much theater-like.
Yeah.
Do you think people have done that?
You could. The things that aren't in that room, you could do.
In
like
a
you could
pool of light in the front.
Yeah.
I don't think I really put together, but this actually, much like Pulp Fiction, doesn't have linear storytelling either. Yeah. But I didn't really think about it. And the way that he describes it is that, if you're writing a book, you don't have to justify like jumping around. And so he doesn't feel like he has to. But the way that he tells his story, like he's really specific about the information that he lets out and when he does. Because if you start that movie with Tim Roth going through and figuring out his character, that's a different movie. The feeling is a lot different.
Michael Madsen was terrifying in that movie.
He's a pretty terrifying dude. That's the one thing with Quentin Tarantino movies where you feel real tense. There's those tense parts.
Are you gonna bark all day, little doggy? Or are you gonna bite?
That's one of those where those two, you believe there is some tension there where It's like, ugh. Madsen actually had just become a father when Reservoir Dogs came out, and like when the guy talked about, he's got kids, like it made that scene very hard for Madsen to do.
I can believe it.
Because you got to go to a pretty dark place to go cut somebody's hair.
We saw that the cut scenes for that where they actually show different angles of how they cut. And there's that one where, I mean, they just show the guy's head and just like he's just cutting, and I'm like going, yeah, that would have been a little much.
Lest we forget, Steve Buscemi's role in this. Like he does the same character that he kind of always does, but this is one of the early incarnations of that, and just that kind of speed, motor mouth, like we got to figure out what the hell is going on here.
We're supposed to be professionals.
One of the things that I watched was talking about the relationships between the four main characters, where you have the professional and the psychopath, and then you have the old guard and the new guard.
Right, with Roth and...
Yeah, and so those four interacting, like, ends up, like, that's what the story is. But, it's a well-told story, and it's what built the groundwork for Pulp Fiction, which I think...
You can absolutely...
That's probably his best one, I thought. Out of all the Tarantino movies, the Pulp Fiction is probably his best.
I think Pulp Fiction is his most accessible. Like, whether or not it's his best really depends on what criteria you're rating it on.
3 glasses.
3 Gläser.
But, yeah, that one.
After all of these years of watching kids' movies, it is a little tough to get down. Besides just like Tim Roth bleeding through the entire movie, it's like, wow.
So much blood at the end of the movie. Just all.
Well, I remember somebody trying to do the math to figure out who shot who.
Have that like that moment of like everyone's pointing guns at everyone. It's just like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? And it's like boom, 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 boom. They're all dead except for
Steve Buscemi.
Steve Buscemi goes up and gets shot a little later.
Yeah. Leave the door open for a sequel.
It's like, not in this house.
That movie's overall so tense, and then like at the end, he just doesn't even pull any punches. It's just like, no, everybody dies.
Everybody dies.
It's like, who'd you like in this movie? They're all dead. So,
They're all dead.
Sorry.
We're gonna Game of Thrones this.
I haven't seen Games of Thrones yet.
Really? You didn't know Steve Buscemi was in Game of Thrones?
I'm a White Walker. I'm walking, see? No ukulele in that.
Oh, yeah. No ukulele in that either.
No ukulele in that movie. So, Reservoir Dogs, Quentin, my man, you can see all the parts. I like this. I like this movie. I give it 3 ukuleles.
I would equate it to that moment in time before you drop in on a half pipe. Like, it's really exciting, and you can see it happening, but it's not quite there yet. So I give it 3 ukuleles.
Based on his work as a whole, I would just give it 2. It wasn't my favorite. I like, there were some others I liked better.
It's over!